Okay, everybody, today we're going to talk about how Jocko Willink, retired Navy SEAL, helped me become a better coach. If you don't know anything about Jocko Willink, when you see him, you might think he looks kind of like a brute. A typical military guy who, as Jocko even says, uses blunt force trauma to get his way. But his understanding and execution of leadership is one of the best I've ever seen. It fits best with my style personally, and I'm going to tell you what rules he follows that will help you become a better coach, that have helped me become a better coach. So he has 4 laws of combat. He's a Navy SEAL, retired Navy SEAL, led his group of men through the Battle of Ramadi in 2006, and he has a lot of real-world experience in the battlefield, and he even owns a consulting firm now where he helps businesses help their people grow as leaders and help businesses produce better profits through leadership. So here are 4 laws of combat. 1, cover and move. Keep it simple, prioritize and execute, and decentralized command. So let's start with cover and move. The basic idea behind cover and move, it just means that you build relationships with the people inside of your chain of command, outside of your chain of command, that will help you accomplish the overall mission. Basically, this means build relationships. And the way you build relationships is, 1, you have to give trust and accept trust from people. You can't do it by yourself. If you try to build a team by yourself, or if you think you're the only person who can make your athlete better, you will not be as successful as you could be. So the way you could cover and move, the way you can bring in resources to help people cover you would be, 1, you could get outside work where it comes from sports psychology, sports nutrition, strength training, unless you already have that stuff in-house. And here's the big one that a lot of people are going to disagree with me with, is getting the parents on board with your program. A lot of coaches out there feel like, if you're an 18 and under coach, feel like parents are best kept off to the side, stay quiet, let me do my job. And yes, parents can get in the way of what you're trying to accomplish because sometimes they come with their own agendas. But if you can get parents bought into your program and what you're trying to do with your athletes, I think the benefits outweigh the cost. And if you don't have them on board, I believe that will eventually come to bite you in one way or another. So when it comes to the other coaches on your staff, cover and move literally means help each other out. So if you want to bounce some ideas off some coaches, do that. If you need help, ask them. If another coach needs your help covering a practice or doing something, help them out. It's not just about you and your group and your athletes, it's about the team. Personally, I think it's about the team. I believe having a strong team is the best way to produce great athletes. Yes, you might have that one-off, that great kid, you get that one kid in your group, but if you have a great team, that one-off will become the norm. It could happen more often. Now, this can go too far. If you cover too much, then you're not moving. If you're constantly trying to help other people out or do things for other people, or you're just give, then you never get to move. So make sure there's a balance. When it comes to athletes, parents, and coaches, what I mean here is that there comes a point where you might have to move on, whether that's letting an athlete off the team, a coach, or a parent, or just moving forward and being happy with how much work you put in. Okay, so the next one is going to be keep it simple. So this, again, easy to understand, but when you start looking at people's workouts and what they're trying to accomplish per day, per week, per season, I wouldn't say it's as simple as possible. So here's how you know if you are not keeping it simple. Nobody understands what you're saying or what you're trying to do. So when you're trying to keep it simple in a workout, I would say don't incorporate a ton of things smashed into a small workout. So say you're doing hundreds and every half there's something different, a different drill. You have 2 lines of explanation for each 100, right? That's too complex. Complexity is slow, simple is fast, I like to say. So as far as in the workouts, that's what it means. When it comes to leading your team and talking to the parents on your team, keeping it simple just means clear communication. I need you to do this. This is what we're trying to work towards. Now, keeping it simple can go too far. If it's too vague and too broad, then it won't really accomplish what you're trying to do. So this is one way you could keep it too simple, is you go to everybody and you say, we're going to get faster. And that's it. You don't do any further explanation. Nobody really knows what that means. It sounds good out loud, but what does that really mean, right? Keeping it complicated would be, I don't know, saying these are the tools we're going to use and breaking down every single step for every single person. That's complex. So you need to find the balance between simple and complexity. And so I think that's good. When it comes to leadership, keeping it simple is just telling people what you need from them, being clear, keeping it simple on what you expect from the people around you. So the next one is prioritize and execute. So when you're looking at your workouts by phase, by month, by season, prioritize and execute. If you try to accomplish 10 things in a workout or even a week, there's a good chance you're not going to accomplish as much as you want. And you're not going to go as deep as you want into one area. So every season, I try to pick 2 to 3 things that we really are trying to accomplish, right? Getting faster is always part of it. But if we really struggled on our turns or underwaters the season before, maybe the upcoming season we're really going to focus on underwaters, right? But it is difficult to work on everything at the exact same time. And if you try to do everything, you end up doing nothing. So prioritize and execute. A great way to do this is write down everything you're trying to accomplish, whether it be that week, that phase, that season, and chop it up. Get rid of the things that you don't really need, or get rid of the things that you will be okay with if you don't hit. If you try to do everything, not only will you not accomplish as much, but you will get frustrated. You will. Today we had to kick, we had to pull, we had to sprint, and we had to do threshold all in one day. And that stuff's not all going to happen. Maybe it can happen on a small scale, but I don't think you'll be able to do enough of anything for it to matter. And lastly, decentralized command. So as a coach coaching your athletes directly, this means you need to give your athletes some freedom to make decisions. If you're a tyrant, just telling everybody what to do every step of the way, you are not equipping your athletes to be the best they can be. The best athletes are the ones who can go to meets and they can take care of themselves. Warming up, warming down, nutrition, hydration, mental preparedness. And they can do that on their own, and then they can perform. You can tell right away, you college coaches especially, you can tell right away which coaches did everything for their athletes. Because they go to college or they go up to the next coach and they're like, what should I do for warm-up? How much should I warm up? Well, I don't know what to do. And if we're talking high school athletes here, it's like, man, come on, we got to start figuring this out. Now, you might coach different levels, so this looks different, right? At a 10 and under, decentralized command could mean, hey, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to come up with a game that everybody's going to play. Or I'm going to give you 5 minutes to work on this drill by yourself. I guess that's more for 11, 12. 11, 12, 13, 14, I do this, is letting your athletes teach each other how to be better at technique. You don't have to be the almighty technique master of your team. Give them a few pointers, let them get their phones out and teach each other how to do it better. At the senior or more elite level, decentralized command comes into meet preparedness, warming up at swim meets. There's also some days where we might let an athlete run a piece of the workout. Or also if we have a race day, they're in charge of everything other than even sometimes what races we're swimming that day. And we just watch how they perform on their own. Because at the top level, you got to be able to do it on your own. Your coach will lead you, guide you, show you everything you need to know, but you got to be able to do it on your own. If you take this one too far, then that's when you just let kids run wild and they're all doing their own thing without guardrails. And we all know that that's not good. With the parents and the coaches on your staff, same thing. You're not going to get anywhere with your team if you're writing workouts for every single person. And you know this. Most coaches aren't doing that. You have to let your coaches run a little bit wild. You have to let them learn what their best style is. As long as they understand what Jocko would call commander's intent, right? That means what's the intention of the team? What are the overall goals? And that comes from keeping it simple and explaining ahead of time what the goals of the season are. You should be okay. So we broke down those 4 things. Jocko has 2 extra things. And one is discipline equals freedom. It's one of his big things, that discipline action over time leads to more freedom. Some people look at discipline and feel like it's restricting, as far as like time restrictions. I go to bed at this certain time. On these days I work on whatever. But in the long run, discipline does lead to freedom. Man, if for some reason Jocko watched this, I hope I did a good job of explaining his 4 laws of combat and how they have helped me become a better coach. If you haven't read any of his books, I would go check it out. I'll put them in the notes below. And thanks for watching. Like, comment, share, and you have a great day.